Hello, welcome to another tonalist landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting I'm bringing you today is called El Capitan from Merced River. It's an 8x14, and I painted this last week. Now, you're going to notice some things are different here, and what's up is this is kind of a forerunner for a larger video that'll be hitting you in a few days. So, it's 5 hours long. So I thought, well, I know a lot of people aren't going to want that. So I thought, well, we'll give you kind of a 15-minute taste here. The 4K version is uploading into the members area as I speak. I've got the palette out. I'm teaching a bit. Of course, with 5 hours, there's going to be some areas that are there's not much being said, but I think it's a pretty valuable experience. And the whole process was prompted by a member of the channel named Frank, who initially asked me to make a painting after a photo of El Capitan from a similar vantage point, but it was somebody's very nicely produced and professional photo, and I'm like, yeah, that's going to be not something I could share publicly. But then he sent me a picture painted by Bierstadt. And I'm not going to do that either. That's too crazy. And Bierstadt's was 40 inches. But it got me thinking, well, I could probably, get a photo. The photo reference that I used for this is from the Smithsonian, and I just manipulated it. Now that video will be going up in the members area as well, showing what I did to get that sort of luminous kind of effect. And then, of course, I'm real happy with the way the painting turned out. Now, it'll all be covered in depth with there's a color list coming up, but I may as well tell you now because some of you aren't going to want to commit to the 5 hour video. We're working on hardboard. It's been prepped with 2 coats of transparent gesso. It was really the perfect color, the perfect support for this painting. I'm going in with my underpainting color, it's mostly burnt umber. I've got a little bit of this color from Rembrandt called Rose Madder in there, which is sort of like alizarin crimson, maybe not as purpley. Lovely color. It's kind of juicing up the red aspect just a little bit. And then I'm balancing that with a little bit of perylene black, and that adds up to kind of a super burnt umber. It's got a little more intensity to it, which having a good underpainting. Now this sort of underpainting, I'll be honest with you, I don't normally like painting actual scenes. But this scene has some meaning to me because in my career as a professional illustrator, which I did for 13 years, Yosemite was one of my accounts for like 13 of those 13 years. So every year I'd have to be illustrating aspects of Yosemite. So I have a lot of familiarity with El Capitan, with this view, and all the other famous views. And but mostly, what's great is that I was generally doing like a pen and ink or a brush and ink a drawing based on a photo, and then I would color that in the computer and set it up for screen printing. Usually, T-shirts was a main business I was engaged with, but we put art on all sorts of other merchandise too. And I had 8 colors, and now some cases one of those colors is going to be a flash plate. So, you can kind of use that. Sometimes you can make the flash plate a gray and then make that one of your colors too. But imagine painting an entire landscape with only 8 colors. There's not much you can do, and I did quite a lot of creative things, and I have to say it really did help set me up for my journey as a painter, because I understand the value of value. Value will tell the story where color cannot. Yeah. So anyway, we're doing our underpainting here, and it was pretty involved because you want things in the right spot. But I have to tell you, I took a tonalist approach, which was sublimation of detail. I didn't worry too much about getting exact details in exact spots. I will point out, you see these kind of tallish trees in the center there. Well, that was all well and good the day I was doing this drawing slash underpainting, but I will say when I came in the next day, I thought, wow, that seems very much like the subject now. So I diminished them, and they still have a bit of prominence, but I cut them in about half. And there's a good rule for you right there. Anything that raises too far up into the sky will become the subject. Yeah. So anything, some people say anything that breaks above the horizon line is the subject, but that's not always the case, of course. In a painting like this, almost everything in the painting is above the horizon line except the reflections in the river. Yeah. I will say I really enjoyed painting this, and it's winter for me, so I am kind of taking it a little bit easier. I'm not doing, not getting a lot of that tourist sort of action, and I'm not going. The odds of me selling this painting to someone walking into my studio out here in New Zealand aren't great, but I'm going to put it in my store. And I think it turned out really nice. It would look so awesome in someone's home. I'm going to put a fair price on it. And it'll be for sale on my site. And, eventually to find a home. That's the thing. If my feeling about paintings is if they're beautiful, they'll find a home. Okay, we're going to have an ad for the book coming up. So we we shipped, we sold them, shipped quite a few books out this last week, and I'm very excited that a library here in New Zealand ordered some, and that to me is like really, really cool. I just think that's the greatest because someone could just stumble across it and maybe it'll change their lives for the better. I was reviewing the book. We had a power outage here that lasted about 6-7 hours, so I kind of grabbed it off the shelf and thought, I haven't read this for a while. I didn't get all the way through it, but it was good to read. And some things have changed a little bit. I'm always changing and moving, and that's as it should be. You know, right? So. It takes a bit of work to get the palette all synced up with the painting. This is a thing. So, but I did indicate on the Matthews video that I was going to do a couple of these a month, and I'm going to. And this is 5 hours, so it'll be very interesting to see how the general public, you know. Digs on this. Now, I am going to have a blog post, and I will pop that reference image in there. So if you feel like making your own painting of the scene, which you might, yeah, go ahead. Why not? It's now. What you really should do, if you're making it look a lot like mine, is give me some attribution. Paint it after M. Francis McCarthy, that kind of thing. Um, but here we go. I don't know if the AI is doing that. Anyway, we're humans. We're painting, and we making real paintings on real boards is where it's at. And I really did enjoy this process. And I can't say. I mean, that the lesson there is. Sometimes it pays to ask old Uncle Mike to do something and he'll do it. But I do get requests to do things sometimes. And, if it's not an artist I'm into, I'll just say nah, Or maybe I'll find a way, like I did here. Like, I love Albert Bierstadt, but and, a lot of people think the tonalists invented that spiritual color, but no, the luminists invented it, and the tonalists just kind of simplified things, abstracted things. And one thing I didn't indicate to Frank when he asked for this, but, tonalists usually weren't into, like, vistas, like, but my attitude is about that every vista, in a sense, can be intimate as well, because it's really just a matter of your attitude while you're painting it. So Now, the one question in my mind was I came up with the sky and this lighting. I'm not convinced that I don't really know exactly how El Capitan orients, but it's sort of generic enough. I felt I was okay, and there was not a strong light source in the El Capitan photo, and in that photo, the sky was mostly just blown out. So I'm actually real happy with the way the sky turned out, and I'm real happy with the way that the hill shapes El Capitan itself and the I think it's called the Three Sisters on the other side. I really should know these things, but I'm about 14 years removed from doing any work like that. And I will say, when I was illustrating these subjects, I would always one thing that's been consistent with me is I always really try and inject some special personal essence into what I do. It's just an attitude of like, how can I make this look cool? And that's carried me through my illustration career and into the fine art thing. It's not much changed. And the other thing it's not much changed. I had a session with a student this week, and she asked a really good question. And she's like, "Well, how long have you had your style?" And I don't think about it because to me, it's. I wish I could escape it. I can't. It's I see it in everything I do, even if I change media, the way the shapes are handled, the way the values are handled, all of these things add up to style. But the answer I gave her is that, of course, the question's really when can I get my own sort of style going? And a lot of people want that. You probably do too. And the answer I have is, as unsatisfying now as it's always been, which is you'll have a style when you can't escape it. Okay, now that's not very satisfying, but the real answer is you will have a style when you start doing more drawings, more paintings, and I mean a lot more over a long period of time. Then things start to coalesce and come together. The other thing I might say is if style's a real important thing for you, then don't skip around to, doing a watercolor one day and an oil painting the next and a drawing the next, etc., so on and so forth. I would just sit down and do a painting every day if that's where you want to develop. Or maybe you want to develop as a drawer. I've been playing around a lot with drawing, but to me, drawing is. I had another student, and she's actually into figurative sorts of things. And when I draw, I'm drawing figures usually. Believe it or not, it's called landscapepainter.co.nz. You know, but she's like, "What are you going to do with them?" I'm like, "I don't know. Man, probably nothing. I'm just drawing for fun." You know, to me, this is what I do professionally is I paint landscapes, and sometimes I paint figures. But I found that um, if I'm going to do a figure, I usually want it to be a female figure, and I usually want it to have a certain charge to it. Just like I like to have a charge in my landscapes, but to me, the landscape is really the primary thing. Figurative painting, it doesn't interest me that much. Although I will say, at one point, I do believe I'm headed to doing some figures in the landscape. That could be a little ways off. I think that for that to be done well, as the way I envision it in a tonalist manner, I know Ines took a good crack at it, and he didn't get that close. But he worked at it. Anyway, stay tuned. Going to be about we're going to let the members chew on this for about 3 or 4 days. So probably about like Wednesday or so, I'll be rolling out the 5-hour version of this at 1080. And if you think, gee, I wish I could see everything a little better, just join the members area and you can see it in 4K with no ads. And There's tons and tons of other stuff. Now, the only thing that's mainly different from the members area is most of the members areas don't have this palette in there. And that's because I got to photograph that with a whole other camera, and it takes time to get everything synced up. And if it isn't synced up, it really weirds you out. So, anyway, until I come back with another video for your edification and enjoyment, do me a favor, do me a solid. Take good care of your family, yourself, all your loved ones. Stay out of trouble. God bless you and your family. Fight the power.